Hello, 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 and welcome to yet another episode of Payne in the Pews Mental Health and Ministry. I am your host, Chelselia Cookie Payne. And listen, as always, I'm elated that you are here with us. We hope that there is something that you've been enjoying through each and every episode that we bring before you. And tonight, oh, tonight is no different. I am honored to have a special guest with us because tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about life transitions. What do I fit in? What, where do I fit in? And let me tell you what we mean by that. You know, that we've got everything from empty nesters to people going through transitions due to the pandemic, whether it is losses or gains. Sometimes it's just transitions. Where do I fit in? And so I am so excited to have with us our special guest, Miss Cathy Newman. So let me tell you guys about Cathy before we get this ball rolling, because y'all can already tell I'm excited. So Cathy is the CEO and founder of Cathy Newman Consulting LLC, right? And she helps women find clarity in their purpose. That's important. Finding clarity in your purpose. Life through life through transitions and finding out why they are here. Of having a purpose driven life. I am elated to introduce to you all Miss Cathy Newman. Cathy, thank you for being a part of tonight's discussion. So excited to have you.
You are so welcome, and Miss Cookie, thank you for the opportunity again. Again, I am most honored and privileged to be here on your platform, and thank you again.
Oh my gosh, we're happy to have you. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about these transitions. So first, tell us about Miss Cathy and how the transition that you experienced, and because I know the viewers will be able to relate once they hear your transition.
Okay. Well, my story is, I should say, my backstory is, I'm a retired veteran, United States Navy. I served on active duty for about 25 years. I've been retired for about 13 years now, but with my life transitions, it was very difficult when I did the military transition to civilian life. And what I mean by that is when I went into the military, I went in at the age of 17. So a young woman, young girl, and I did 25 years. So when I came out or retired, I was 42. So going in at 17 and then coming out at 42, I then was a mature, seasoned woman. But I didn't know where I fit in. It was very difficult because of the type of job that I had. I was an admin, but when I came out to the civilian world, admin is so broad. There's nothing specific for what I did in the military. So I struggled. I couldn't find my place. And anyone that served in the military know when you have a job, a MOS, or rate, you're doing specific things, specific jobs. Even when you transfer for your orders, you have a certain NEC or MOS, you're going to do that specific job. But when I was coming out, I just felt different. I just felt like I didn't belong. And it took me a while to find out what it is that I needed to do. What was my purpose? So I had to do some soul searching. And through soul searching, and a lot of it was through church, praise and worship. I did a lot of volunteer work at church with the Women's Alliance. And just serving, I felt so good and so at peace being the steward of service. So the pastor at the time was a female pastor. She always prayed over me. She said, "You have so much knowledge. You need to share that with the world." I was like, "What do you mean I have so much knowledge?" But I was always helping. I'm the type of person, I was always in the background. I like doing stuff behind the scenes. I don't like being up front. Put me in the back and I'll work, work, work. And then I started asking, I was like, "Well, what do you think my purpose is?" She said, "I cannot answer that for you. You have to have a conversation with God, and He will put you on a journey and lead you through that. Started praying, started praying. Then a job came up for me in business. My background is in business, and I was working for corporate, but I found out at my corporate job, I was doing a lot of teaching, a lot of consulting, talking with people, bringing them in my office. I'm like, am I actually consulting these people? Am I coaching? Am I mentoring? And that's what I started doing. And then when I left corporate world, I started teaching high school, educating. So I continued to pray. And I was like, Lord, where am I supposed to be? He says, you are a steward of service. All the knowledge that you have, you're supposed to just give it out to the world. Your job is to coach, mentor, and educate people. And that's how I found my purpose. And I've been so happy at doing that job, educating, teaching, consulting, mentoring, just talking to the world about whatever it is they need to know.
It's amazing how when you do fall into or walk into, step into what God has graced you to be and to do and has the purpose that He has over your life, it's amazing how He will allow you that peace, that
Mhm.
comfort, that assurity to let you know, yeah, you are on the right track. And
Mhm.
I'm so elated that you indeed did get that. But here's a question I have for you,
Mhm.
because you gave us and thank you, you gave us a wonderful backstory, because going in at 17, going in to serve your country, and by the way, thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Going in at 17, there's a lot of things that happen as a young lady, whether you had went into the military or into the corporate America. There's a lot of things as a young lady, right? And now, as you said, you began to grow and you mature in the things you learn. Now you're serving the country, you're learning different things, you're learning a skill set that we as civilians really we're not learning what you're learning, right? You get out, you retire after 25 years, and now you're a civilian, and your purpose for 25 years was clear in the sense of, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do. I do it effectively. I do it well. I get up and I do it again. And I get up and I do it again. And I move up and I move up and I keep doing it and I'm doing good. And I know all these people around me. Whether you move from this place, I know these people.
Eight
Yeah.
times.
Wow. Wow. But then you get out, you
Mhm.
retire, and there's a shift.
Mhm.
There is a ginormous, that's my word, a ginormous shift, because we're civilian now, so things are not structured like the military. The military is structured.
Mhm.
There's no structure. And as you said, you found out that what the type of admin that the military teaches and the type of admin that's out here in the marketplace, not necessarily the same. So now you're trying to fit literally a square peg into a round hole, because military is very, you got everything's precise. Out here, we just all willy-nilly in civilian, in the civilian world. We just out here just flying by the seat of our pants. And so here you are. What was what was it like for you? This may sound simplistic, but I'm curious. What was it like for you applying for employment, getting out after retirement? Now you have to apply for employment.
I, I was afraid. I was I was lost in the sauce. you know. But I applied at first. I got a little discouraged for a while, a lot of places I applied for, and even with asking for a salary, they was like, no. And I was like, well, what is my worth?
Mm,
Thinking in terms of that. And I was a bit,
yes.
and I'm a business major too. So I became very discouraged. I was depressed for a little bit before I got hired, but I prayed and prayed. But the job that I ended up getting, here's the thing, the person that saw my resume saw that I was military, and the job that I applied for had a high turnover rate of people not being able to do the job. And she saw that I was military, and they said, we need military work ethics.
So it came into your benefit.
Mm-hmm.
It came into your benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Let me stop you right there though, because you said something that's key, that is important for not just people who were former servicemen and women, but for those who've gone through transitions, that there may be times where you do feel alone or sad or even have a depressive moments
Mm-hmm.
because things are now different.
Yes.
But something key that yeah, you said I went through my moments, but I prayed and you didn't stop. You didn't give up.
No, I didn't.
So I thought that was so key because in encouraging those who are watching now, whether your transition may look like you were formerly married or you lost a job or maybe coming out of the military or it may be something great. It may be just got married or recently married, but it's still a transition. Where do
Right.
I fit in?
Man.
And so if you're feeling those moments of overwhelm or feeling like things just this isn't what I signed up for,
Definitely.
keep praying.
Mhm.
And when you don't, sometimes you don't know what to pray, just don't overthink it. Just
Mhm.
be honest with God. Just
Mhm.
sometimes we
Absolutely.
pray about it, but sometimes we don't know what in the world we're supposed to be praying. Just have that conversation. Tell God exactly what's going on.
Mhm.
What's going on? So in your experience, you were getting discouraged in those moments. What was it? I know you mentioned your the pastor at that time, you were able to go to them and kind of say, okay, what's my purpose? But what did you also have mentors around you, maybe people who had already retired or people who
Mhm.
understood what you were going through?
Yeah, I end up, well, when I really felt myself being discouraged and I felt like I was, becoming depressed because, we do suffer from PTSD. So I'm like, am I going crazy? What's happening? But I had the luxury of calling my old commanding officer and talking with him. And he was like, Chief, he said, you know you're gonna have to let go of the military way of life, not necessarily your characteristics and your attributes, but it's a different type of organization. And he says, unfortunate, because some people can transition right over into a military atmosphere with a civilian job, but I was straight up corporate world. So he's like, you don't lose the way that you used to work, your work ethics and everything, but you're going to have to look at things a little differently. And in saying that, I was like, I was very active in the church and praying, and my pastor at the time, she was just so, used to call her happy go lucky because just the joy she would bring in people's life. And she was always praying for people, always praying. So, and I went to her and, I was like, what's wrong? What? She was like, I can't give you the answers. I can pray with you. She said, but you need to have that conversation. She said, just talk to God and ask him and he will show you things. And Lord and behold, I was seeing things, but I didn't know those were the answers. When
Wow.
they say peace be still, that's what it means. Peace be still. calm yourself, open your mind, and you will see things. They'll come to you. They will come to you. And sometimes you may hear stuff and be like, wait a minute, am I crazy? But things, I do believe things happen for a reason. Everyone has a journey. Everyone has a path that they're going to have to get to. But you have to really dig deep inside yourself, and the answers will come to you.
I agree 100%. So then you went into teaching and you began serving, volunteering and serving others. And then from that serving and that heart of being a servant, that giving spirit, it transitioned into you teaching. But then it also transitioned into, well, still the same thing, still teaching, but coaching. So tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about your coaching practice.
Okay. Well, with coaching, let me back it up. Teaching, I didn't really want to teach. I was like, no, I'm not teaching material. But I interviewed for that job 3 times. And the lieutenant, it was at a high school, but it was JROTC.
Okay.
And I went there, Miss Cookie, 3 times, and the position was still open. And the lieutenant said, Chief, I don't know why you keep coming. You know this job is yours. So you just need to do it. So I did it. I taught for 5 years, and then I moved back down south, and I taught at a high school here in South Carolina for 5 years. But then with coaching, and I just felt the need to just give information. People would always ask me questions, ask me my opinion on things, and I would just freely just sit down and talk to people. I mean, without even thinking about it, just talking. And I'm an
Right.
introvert because a lot of when I tell people I'm an introvert, they be like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "Yes, I am." So, so I just love to share information, share knowledge. If you don't have the answer, I'll help you find it. I'll research it with you.
Right.
But I am a true believer of faith, and as they say, go and lay it on the altar
Yes.
and let it happen. But that's what I want to do. I saw myself too with business opportunities, trying to figure things out, being a mother, trying to create a legacy for my kids. And then in today's world, I see a lot of mothers, struggling, empty nesters, some get divorced. And even when the pandemic hit, a lot of people had to pivot left.
Yeah.
They have a lot of skills, a lot of experiences, and they don't know how to leverage them to help them. Sometimes you don't always have to be an employee, you can be an employer.
This is true. This
you
is
know
true.
and I'm just at that point in my life where I'm just really ready to live my life on my own terms. Can I do that?
Wow.
Most certainly. you know
Absolutely.
Most certainly.
Absolutely. And I think that that's probably what makes people want to draw to you as far as with coaching is because that's a message that you not only share and teach, but it's one that you live. And I
Mhm.
think that
Absolutely.
that's why in your coaching of these women, that's what draws them. Because it's one thing to be able to talk about something, that's great. But if you have a lived experience and I can talk to you and you actually understand what I'm talking about, that you can
Mhm.
relate, I think that that is something that makes your clients want to come to you as a coach, that makes people who may not even be a client yet, but just people who are drawn to this introvert individual that's drawn to your spirit, to your loving spirit, to your giving spirit, to that spirit of servitude that you have, that wants to see people succeed in their purpose, because
Yes.
you have actually walked that walk twice.
Yes.
That's a powerful thing. And you are a living example of something that I share with people often, is that God can gift you with more than one thing. You can be gifted and talented and have a purpose in more than one thing in your life. And he can get the
Absolutely.
glory out of all of it. And they
Mhm.
all work together because your military
Absolutely.
life led you to the path that you're on literally right now.
Mhm. Yeah, people have to understand too, and what I learned, you have your natural gifts or talents and your spiritual gifts and talents.
Absolutely.
And when they
Yes.
come together, it is so powerful.
Pow-
There's nothing that you can't do if you don't put your mind into it and make sure you have God first. Consult with him. He's the ultimate consultant in your life.
The ultimate. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want you to share with our viewing audience, how can they connect with Miss Cathy? How can they do that?
Okay. On my website is www.cathycnewman.com. On Facebook is Cathy Newman. Instagram is Cathy C. Newman 1. And I'm also on Twitter at Cathy C. Newman 1.
That is awesome. So I want my viewers to know that's Cathy with the C, CathyNewman. So I don't want you going all over social media trying to find Cathy. So I want you to know that's Cathy with the C, CathyNewman. I want you to, is it, wait a minute. Now your website is CathyCNewman.com, right? So
Mhm.
don't forget that C,
That's correct.
CathyCNorman.com. I'll give you a new name, CathyTNewman.com. Cathy, thank you so much for
Yeah.
this inspiration, for this empowerment, for this transparency, and for just showing us, listen, you know where you fit in. Ask
Mhm.
God. You know where you fit in because God has a place for you.
He has
You
a
have a
plan.
place and a plan. Yes, ma'am. God has a place and God has a plan. So as we're wrapping up, what words of encouragement would you like to leave with the viewers?
I would like to tell everybody to continue to have faith and believe and pray daily. You know, it doesn't matter where you pray at. You can pray in your car, pray in the kitchen, anywhere that you can pray. I am the utmost believer in prayers. Prayers will be answered. Prayers will be answered.
Yes, ma'am. If it and listen, guys, you're looking at on your screen living proof because, like she said, she prayed. She didn't know where to go. She didn't know what was her next, but she prayed and believed. And even through whatever challenges God took her through, He answered her every time. So,
Yes.
Kathy, thank you so much. This has been awesome, just as I knew it would. Just as I knew it would. Thank you so much. And guys, we will see you again on our next episode right here at Payne in the Pews Mental Health and Ministry. God bless.